So, Black People Count News, we are doing several news stories tonight. We're going to be talking about several things tonight. Several things. So, with that being said, guys, make sure you share the stream. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream with other people that you know. Make sure you guys are sharing the content. Share this broadcast on every social media page that you have. Make sure you're sharing this broadcast on every social media page that you have. So for our first story tonight is going to be Democratic worries bubble up over Cornell West Green Party run as Biden campaign takes a hands-off approach. It's from CNN. Man, oh man. You know, at first they ignore you. At first they don't even want to acknowledge you. And then what happens is over time, Cornell West is starting to get a little bit more steam and traction, you see. A lot of folks didn't see Cornell West as a threat. A lot of folks didn't see Cornell West as a problem. But now all of a sudden they want to put some respect on his name. And why is that? Because he can make it where Joe Biden doesn't win. See? Now all of a sudden he can get some respect. Now all of a sudden Democrats can get some act right. Cornell West's candidacy on the Green Party line confuses some of his longtime political allies and friends, while also alarming top Democrats and black leaders as a potential ticking time bomb for President Joe Biden in next year's election. The political philosopher and proud agitator is tapping into his semi-celebrity to attack Biden from the left, where the president has never been fully embraced, and describing his administrations as a mere postponement of fascism. And as concerns over black voter enthusiasm bubble among Democratic operatives, West is also making a deliberately race-based argument, accusing the Democratic establishment of treating the electorate like a plantation where you got ownership status in terms of which way you vote. Oh, yes, that is big with Democrats. If you dare say, hey, I want an actual progressive, and they happen to be running somebody who is not a progressive, oh, you got to get in line, Negro. Get in line. And the one thing that I think a lot of black people are sick of is that nonsense. We want to give actual progressives, people who are actually for us, people who are going to push tangibles, things like reparations, like actual police reform or defunding the police. I would love that. Actually providing some housing, actually providing some debt relief, actually providing some criminal justice relief. Not just reforming the criminal justice system, but giving black folks in particular some relief from that nonsense. Things that we actually care about. You know, the Democrats treat us almost like you would treat an abused dog. Like, for example, even an abusive owner expects their dog to behave. See? That's how Democrats see us as black Americans. I just hope everybody realizes that. Most top Democrats remain skeptical West will raise enough money to mount an extensive operation. He jumped from the little-known People's Party to the Greens after a rocky rollout, and are following the Biden campaign's lead of deliberately not engaging with him. Oh, so basically, just don't engage with him. Ignore him until he so-called goes away. Well, the question I want to ask Democrats at this point is, how is that working out for you? How's that working out for you? Right? But his decision to run on a ballot line, which Democrats blame for spoiling both the 2000 and 2016 elections, when Green presidential nominees drew enough votes to help give Republicans key states in the Electoral College, has made his candidacy a running source of angst and increasingly a topic of private conversations among multiple Democratic leaders nationally and in battleground states. And while many political insiders have been buzzing about the group of no labels trying to get on the ballot in many states with a presidential candidate, the Greens are already there in 16, and in 2016 got up to 44, including the most competitive states. This is going to sneak up on people, said David Axelrod, a former Barack Obama advisor who also serves as a CNN political commentator. I don't know why alarm bells aren't going off now, and they should be at a steady drumbeat from now until the election. There are no sirens blaring, but top Democrats in swing states have taken notice. We should be concerned. I don't think time's necessarily on our side. The longer these things hang out there, the worse it tends to get, said Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, who acknowledged that the conversation about West has so far been more among insiders than voters. We should try to deal with it rather quickly if we can. Deal with it. This sounds like some lynching talk. What do you mean deal with it when it comes to Cornell West? What are you going to do to this man? Whoa. What do you mean we should try to deal with it? What do you mean try to deal with it? For now, Biden advisors remain hopeful that the president's record and voters' memories of 2016, when Jill Stein's campaign won tens of thousands of votes in battleground states Hillary Clinton lost, will keep supporters from straying to West. It's an approach much like the one being taken by Michigan Democratic Chair LeVar Barnes, who told CNN, "I don't think Cornell West or the Green Party is something that we need to worry about, but it's absolutely something that we need to keep an eye on." Keep an eye on. So we gotta, basically what she's saying is we gotta watch these N-words. That's what she's saying. Listen, Cornell West is one man. One black man. What black man do you know has any real power in this country that can't be taken away like that? Why are they so concerned with Cornell West? They're not concerned with Cornell West because Cornell West is so powerful. They're concerned with Cornell West because, bottom line is, he ain't the best guy to run for president. But he's still a better choice than both Trump and Biden. He's still a better choice than both Trump and Biden. I mean, no one's perfect for being president. But if I had to pick, I'll take Cornell West over Biden. Absolutely. And that's the problem. Cornell West doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to be better than Biden. Cornell West doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to be better than Trump and Biden. And he's already that. I mean, morally speaking, he's already that. Morally speaking, on a social level, financial level, political level, spiritual level, he's already better than Biden and Trump. Already better. I don't see a bunch of, controversies with him. I don't see a bunch of tax cheating stuff. I don't see a bunch of drone strikes, a bunch of wars. I don't see none of that. I just see a man who taught a lot of freaking school lessons, made some rhymes, did some activism, and now he's running for president. I don't see a problem with Cornell West, because once again, Cornell West could be a hardcore criminal, right? And he's not. But he could be a hardcore criminal and still be better morally than Joe Biden. And he's not even that. He's a morally upstanding citizen. That's what's concerning about Cornell West. The part that bothers people about Cornell West is the fact that someone like him could show up, run against Joe Biden, and there's even a concern about it. 10 years ago, if Cornell West would have run, nobody would even talk about it. You want to know how I know? A lot of people ran for president. Do you want to go through the gauntlet? A lot of black men were president now. There was more than a few. Ben Carson. Nobody talks about him now. I mean, you had a lot of black men, there's a lot of them from the right, who was running for president. There's some of them on the left do. Only one made it. But do you understand the reason why the Democrats are concerned about Cornell West? They're concerned about Cornell West because of what Cornell West represents. He represents change. He represents the idea that, hey, maybe the third party doesn't win this election or the next 4-year cycle or next 4-year cycle. But is that the case 20 years from now? See, a lot of people didn't think the far right was going to rise in Spain. A lot of people didn't think that leftists was going to actually rise up in freaking Brazil. A lot of people didn't think there was going to be a BRICS. The problem with living in the moment is that, yes, you can appreciate things a whole lot better, but it don't provide a whole lot of foresight. So take a pause on living in the moment and look into the future. Do you not see someone similar to Cornell West, a little bit younger, good looking, well spoken, similar ideas? Do you not see that person popping up? You know, maybe that person is 10 years old right now, 11 years old right now, 12 years old right now, but they're watching Cornell West and they're saying, even if he doesn't make it, I will. I will. And he won't run as a freaking Democrat. He will run as a progressive, as a libertarian, as a transhumanist, as an independent. He will run as something other than somebody who belongs to the two-party system. That is what concerns Democrats about Cornell West. Cornell West isn't a problem in of itself. Cornell West is a problem because of what he represents. Do you understand that? See, this is why I tell, especially black folks, to look beyond the headline and look at the macro, right? This is why I tell people to get into the habit of writing things down on a piece of paper, because when you write things down on a piece of paper and you look at it physically, write down the bare facts of any news story that you read, the bare bottom facts, and try as much to remove your opinion. Just the bare bottom facts. And even if something seems like, well, I'm being objective, look at every line that you're writing and then realize, okay, how could this be more direct? And that's how you can reach an objective opinion. And when you write things down on a piece of paper about Cornell West, why are people even having news articles written about it? Why is CNN even putting this out there, right? Why are lieutenant governors talking about him like we got to try to deal with him? Deal with him how? I mean, you got Michigan Democratic Party chairs talking about this man. We got to keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Do you understand the connotations of even saying stuff like that? Why are you watching Cornell West? The man's running for president and you say he has no shot. So if he has no shot, why are you watching him? Let me ask you a question. Is anyone watching Chris Christie? No? Is anyone watching Jeb Bush? How about Marco Rubio? Ted Cruz? Do you see Republican insiders saying, hey, we got to keep an eye on these guys. They might overtake Trump. Or they might overtake Mike Pence or Ron DeSantis. Do you hear any of them saying that? No. But you hear Democrats saying, we got to watch Cornell West. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they want to keep an eye on Cornell West? It's not Cornell West the person. It's Cornell West. It's Cornell West the representative. What trend does he represent? He represents people who are black, who are saying, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go Republican, but I don't like you either. Splitting opinion on the left. Personal affection and respect for West, a giant of the American left and pioneering political theorist, has led many to try to avoid discussing their dismay over his run. At the top of that list, to the frustration of several top Biden supporters who discussed their feelings with CNN, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, whose two presidential campaigns prominently featured West as a speaker at his rallies and included the professor as part of his traveling inner circle. Sanders declined multiple requests to discuss West's campaign, only telling CNN that he did not speak to the candidate before launching. He shut down questions when asked directly about some of West's comments about Biden. Dr. West is one of the most pure, good, and honest souls I have ever encountered, said Ari Rabin-Hoff, a Sanders confidant and one of his deputy campaign managers in 2020. That can lead someone, even one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, to make incredibly wrong political choices. Wow. So basically, even Bernie Sanders' campaign is turning against Cornell West. Basically, this is why I tell people, don't fall for the whole Bernie Sanders nonsense. You know, I can respect some things about Bernie Sanders. Oh, he marched with the civil rights movement. Oh, he's a great guy and everything. But let me go and tell you, let's be honest about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is controlled opposition. He presents a very, very fanciful idea, but when given enough political power or guaranteed to remain in office or when given enough money, Bernie Sanders will do exactly what everybody else with his complexion will do in a certain position. Especially if they're affiliated with that party. And Bernie Sanders most certainly is. So I want you to understand something, right? I'm not saying that all white politicians or non-black politicians are bad people. What I'm saying is that when there appears to be a consensus and when I'm shown a consistent pattern where people like Bernie Sanders and people like Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and so many others, Cory Bush, Cory Booker, Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi, I mean so many others, Chuck Schumer. When I'm showing a consistent pattern that when something is ultimately going to benefit the dominant white society, when I see the pattern that you vote in favor of the dominant white society to our detriment, and that includes Bernie Sanders, I can show you several examples of that with Bernie Sanders. Well, then that shows you where he actually stood. That a lot of the things that Bernie Sanders was talking about are good things to speak on, but would have sounded just as legit coming from anybody else. He just happened to say it and pretend like he stood on it. Even if someone was legit 1 year, that does not mean they don't change over time. And Bernie Sanders, being that he's been in politics for this long and yet American politics is this screwed up, don't tell me he played no role. Don't tell me he played no role. Come on now. You telling me that all out of all the U.S. politicians, he's the exception? Multiple sources in leadership roles at several new progressive establishment groups told CNN they were surprised by West's candidacy, and their silence has been intentional. Even media outlets and leftist commentators who have held him in high regard for decades are urging West to reconsider and, in some notable cases, run as a Democrat in a primary challenge to Biden. Multiple top former Sanders aides told CNN they oppose the Green Party run and don't understand what he is trying to accomplish through it. He's trying to run for president so that he can win, you white supremacists. Yes, at this point, the leftist side has white supremacists too. And you ain't gotta be white to push it. When there's a black man who you would say is otherwise a brilliant, pure, good, and honest soul, who you otherwise said that, and the only difference is now that he's running against a white man, your white slave master, white daddy, now all of a sudden he's a problem. So it's cool when they do it, it's a problem when I do it, basically. So it's cool when Joe Biden writes a 1994 crime bill that targets us. Again, people say, oh, it unintentionally targeted us. The framework of the 1994 crime bill was the 1991 crime bill. And do you know who co-authored that with Joe Biden? South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond. One of the most racist politicians in American history. Could have had a Civil Rights Act back in the 50s. This man did a 24-hour filibuster to stop it, and he did. Set a record by doing that. So, let me get this straight. You're telling Cornell West to not... This man is in his 70s. He might not have forever to actually run. So if he has ambitions to become president to try to make the country better in his own image... The time is now. And because your geriatric slave master wants to remain in power when this man can barely even remember his own freaking name, because your geriatric slave master wants to remain in power, now you're saying, don't run, Cornell. Even if he loses, you have no right to tell a black man to not run for president against a white man. Shut up. If you are a so-called fake white ally doing that, you are not an ally, you are a white supremacist, and I will tell you that to your face. You don't get to tell any black person to not run for president in the country that my people built. You shut your mouth. Don't you ever fix your mouth to tell me or my people, any black man, to not run for to not run for freaking president. We built the country. How dare you? You shut your thin lips. That is racist on a level that I can't even begin to explain to you. Who the hell are you to tell a black man that he can't run for freaking president? Shut your mouth. Get a zipper, a needle and a thread, and zip that mouth shut. All the way shut. See, now the so-called Democrats, the so-called liberal allies, they're showing their racism. So let me get this straight. You're going to fight for so-called voting rights. But what if I want to be the guy that you actually vote for? What's the point in you voting for what is the point in you pretending to care about black voting rights when a black man can't run for president without you trying to gaslight him? If you say you care about black voting rights, shut the hell up. Let us run. Zip it. Whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. Okay? But the second you go after Cornell West, I'm calling you a racist. I'm not changing my mind. I will treat you like a white supremacist, because I would not treat a freaking Republican any freaking different. Find a new attack on this man. You can freaking attack a lot of things. Find a new one, because the second you do that, I will treat you the same way I treat a Klansman, because you are no different at that point. If you have ever in your life told a black man, I don't care what his political beliefs are, if you ever told a black man to not run for president, especially someone like Cornell West, you are a white supremacist, anti-black, racist scumbag. I don't care how many BLMs you got on your profile. I don't care how many black boyfriends you had. I don't care how many black children you got. You are a scumbag. And I think that myself versus you, who are likely not black, because I'm telling you, most of these freaking Democrats, who will go against you ain't even black, right? Would know what would offend black people more. And then even the ones who are black who's gonna come to attack me, guess what? White daddy sent you. So my thing is, don't tell Cornell West, don't tell any black man if they can or cannot run for president. It's our country. We built it. Shut up. I don't care how many BLMs, how much you're an ally. You are not an ally. You are a white supremacist scumbag if you even slightly criticize Cornell West just merely for the fact that he's running. If you criticize his politics, cool. I have no issue with that. But if you're criticizing the mere fact that he's running, you are a piece of shit. There, I said it. Trash. Trash. This man has fought for civil rights his entire adult life. Who the hell are you to tell him he can't run for president whenever the hell he wants to? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? So you mean to tell me this man can pay taxes his freaking entire life? He just can never run president because you don't see it as the most convenient? Shut the hell up. I have lost all respect for freaking Democrats. All of it. You do nothing for my people. You wonder why guys like this are running. And then you turn around and tell him he shouldn't even run. What kind of white supremacist nonsense is that? Huh? He has every right. If this man wanted to walk into the White House and use the restroom whenever he wanted to, guess what? As a tax-paying citizen, who are you to tell him that he shouldn't? Who are you? See, tonight we're going to have church tonight, man. Tonight we're going to have church. I want you to see what's happening with black voters, right? With black voters, I want you to see, right? I want you to see what's happening with black voters. Black voters are getting pissed off with Biden right now, right? And they're trying. See, black voters upset with Democrats. I want you to see this, man. See, they trying to overshot these stories with a bunch of nonsense. But I want you to see this, right? So I want you to see how deceptive the media can actually be. They're trying their best, right? Trying their best to cover up for freaking Joe Biden, right? They're trying their best to. But Biden's popularity is waning with black voters, new poll shows, right? So Tim Scott, the Senate's only black Republican, has officially announced his 2024 presidential run. At the same time, it appears black voters are softening their support for President Joe Biden, right? Black voters said the economy and President Joe Biden's age are factors in their waning support of the president. An ABC News Washington Post poll conducted interviews over the phone with 1,006 adults, 900 of which were registered voters. Black voters are a core group for Democrats, and the president's rating with them is 52%, which is down from 82% when he first took office. That is a 30% dip. A 30% dip this man took. Black voters are... Wait, hold on. Meanwhile, 27% of black people say they would definitely or would probably vote for former President Donald Trump, and 12% of black people voted for him in 2020. So Trump's seen an increase, and Biden is seeing a decrease, right? And National Association for the NAACP recently issued a travel advisory calling Florida openly hostile towards African Americans because of Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to aggressively erase black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Wow. If the Biden administration actually has a record to stand on, then it is better for them to stand on it rather than to use historic organization like the NAACP to do their bidding with this ridiculous political stunt. Wow. As support could be shifting, the president touts his legacy. Wow. The president touts his legacy. His legacy. Let's talk about President Joe Biden's legacy. Again, I just... Joe Biden is racist. Right? Right? So... I want to see something real quick. Joe Biden didn't just compromise with segregationists. He fought for their cause in schools. Your boy Joe Biden. The freaking man who people are telling Cornell West to not run against. The racist white supremacist Democrats who are telling a black man to not run for president, Cornell West, against Joe Biden, who not only supported segregationists, he supported their cause in schools. Now, I know the backstory with this, right? I know the backstory with this. I know that he's gonna say he only supported school segregation because his constituents mostly supported that in Delaware. And I know it was Delaware. Without even looking. Because I've mentioned this on previous broadcasts before in other videos. I've mentioned this exact same story before. And he also claimed that if he didn't do this, then there could be chaos in other ways. So that he was saying, hey, I was compromising for a bigger win. So you delayed justice for families who just wanted to go to the same school as white kids, who just wanted their kids to get the same education as white kids. You delayed that because your racist constituents didn't like it. Well, then why don't you actually address your racist, white supremacist constituents and tell them, hey, why don't you just shut up? Let children go to school. But you didn't do that, Joe Biden. See, watch this. I guarantee you, it's going to shock you how accurate I was with all this. It's going to shock you because I already know this, right? In a 1975 Senate hearing, the legendary civil rights lawyer Jack Greenberg had something to say to freshman Senator Joe Biden. Greenberg, longtime director of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, took Biden to task for supporting a bill that would limit the power of courts to order school desegregation with busing. So Joe Biden sponsored a bill that would limit the courts in order to allow segregation. And his excuse was that, hey, I wasn't actually against desegregation. I was being a political opportunist. Basically. It was a move that followed the wishes of many of Biden's white constituents in Delaware. I want to highlight that part about Joe Biden. I want to go over this one more time. In a 1975 Senate hearing, the legendary civil rights lawyer Jack Greenberg had something to say to freshman Senator Joe Biden. Greenberg, a longtime director of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, took Biden to task for sponsoring a bill that would limit the power of courts to order school desegregation with busing. It was a move that followed the wishes of many of Biden's white constituents in Delaware. His white constituents. So Joe Biden went against desegregation because it made his white constituents happier. So that explains why he's not fixing the police, because it makes his white racist constituents, liberal constituents, his coastal California, Washington State, Oregon elite, rich liberal, racist, anti-black, pseudo-fascist followers. It makes them more comfortable to have police to be overfunded. It makes them more comfortable for us to not get reparations. It makes them more comfortable for us to be redlined in places like Los Angeles, like the LA City Council showed you. The freaking LA City Council scandal. They actually redlined us, right? They were actually openly discussing it. But Joe Biden has no issue with that. Because if he did, he would have said something back in 1975 when he had a chance to. But instead, he did the exact opposite. His bill would keep segregation going even longer. That's your boy Biden. The bill heaves a brick through the window of school integration, said Greenberg, one of the lawyers who had won the Brown v. Board of Education case that ended legal school segregation 21 years earlier. And according to Greenberg, Biden was the man with his hand on the brick. Biden's role in fighting student busing more than 4 decades ago has received renewed attention after the 76-year-old presidential candidate touted his ability to compromise with segregationists during his long Senate career. So he's bragging about being able to compromise with white supremacist racists. Wow. Wow. Hey guys, I can talk to racists well. Vote for me. Hey black people, I wrote bills that kept you out of rich white areas. Or at least made it so that you can ride on the same school bus. Please vote for me. Don't vote for this black guy who's been fighting against me my entire career. Vote for me who's been fighting against him. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So Biden said he disagrees strongly with these Southerners' views, but needed to work with them to get things done. Biden's comments set off a firestorm among his political rivals and some political analysts who describe his language as offensive, as offensive, and I'm just gonna stop there. I want you to see something that he just said, right? So it was a move that followed the wishes of many of Biden's white constituents in Delaware. In Delaware. Delaware. Right? Delaware. But now he's saying that, look, guys, I had to do it because of the Southerners. Sir, it wasn't about the Southerners. It was about the racist, white supremacist people, white folks who live in these northern states. Do you see how quickly you can catch that lie? Just how quickly you can catch that lie? Just how quickly you can catch that lie? Wow. But political experts and education policy researchers say that Biden, a supporter of civil rights in other arenas, did not simply compromise with segregationists. He also led the charge on an issue that kept black students away from the classrooms of white students. His work against school integration advanced a more palatable version of the separate but equal doctrine and undermined the nation's short-lived effort at educational equality, legislative and education history experts say. Oh boy. Is this so quote, Biden, who I think has a good overall on civil rights, was a leader on anti-busing, end quote, said Rucker Johnson, author of the book Children of the Dream, Why School Integration Works. Wow. Wow. He said he told Al Sharpton, you got to deal with what's in front of you, and what was in front of you was a bunch of racists, and we had to defeat them. So you defeated them by helping them. You defeated them by helping them. You defeated them by writing a freaking 1994 crime bill. You defeated them by funding the police more than ever and never fixing the police. You defeated them by not giving reparations to the black descendants of American slaves. That's how you beat them. By drone striking black and brown countries. Particularly black countries like Somalia. By helping to get rid of Muammar Gaddafi. That's how you help Africa. You help black people here by funding the police so much to the point where the police who abuse citizens ask for more funding based on false arrests, based on them pulling over black people just willy-nilly, right? And then they ask for more funding based on their brutality and based on their already established racism. So you essentially reinforce the racism that is already there because you don't demand any concrete changes with these pigs. This is Joe Biden. No. I don't care about the man that you became. I care about the man who you were when I'm pretty sure at that time you didn't have dementia. This is Joe Biden. What you see in the White House is a carefully crafted mold of a man who may resemble Joe Biden at this point. He's so old. His mind's so gone. This is Joe Biden. This is who he is in his heart, to the core. Because even after he became president, even after he was vice president under Barack Obama for 8 years, what did he or Barack Obama do for black people? This is not Joe Biden's first trip to the White House. What did he do the first time? Can anyone tell me? What did Joe Biden do for black people the first time? Because I don't know. Exactly. Shy Gemini, not a damn thing. How you doing, sis? Listen. I want to get into this because I wanted people to see this, mainly because I wanted black people to realize the reason why we remain in the conditions that we find ourselves in is because we vote for the exact same people. You want better choices? You got to vote for better choices. Or sometimes hold back your vote. But if you want better, you don't get better by electing racists. Because of the very, very fact that Donald Trump is even a contender against Joe Biden lets you know how racist Joe Biden and how trash he has to be. Because, my God, Donald Trump is a game show host. The very fact he's even a competitor lets you know how trash Joe Biden must be. How do you beat this man one time and then the very next time you're worried he might actually win because you're that trash? That's sad. Right? So, I want you to see how MSNBC is going to try to soften the landing for Joe Biden. Why Joe Biden's struggle with black voters still isn't good news for Donald Trump. Black voters may not have the strong appreciation for the president, but they have a strong animosity for his most likely opponent. Yeah, but let me go ahead and tell you. That's why they're concerned about Cornell West. Because those black people may say, I'm going to vote for Cornell West then. That's why they're concerned. Let me ask you a question. What do you think black voters feel about Cornell West? We like him. Some of us may not vote for him, but we like him. There's not many black people who don't like him. Let's be honest. Let's just keep it a buck. Most of us like him. Most of us don't have an issue with him. Right? Right? Are black and Hispanic Americans abandoning Biden? Right? Biden has lost ground with black and Hispanic Americans. Biden's approval rating among black, Hispanic, and white Americans adults since the beginning of his presidency as of May 23rd, 2023. So I want you to see, right? He had an 80%, over 80% approval rating by black people, right? And that dropped. It was down in the 50s. Back up in April, you're talking about 70, right? But it's dropping. I guarantee you, it is dropping again. It's dropping again. It's dropping again. Biden's overall approval rating has been underwater since the summer of 2021, falling during the botched withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan and remaining low as inflation surged. Voters of color, in particular, seem disappointed with Biden's performance, with favorability ratings falling more than 13 percentage points among black and Hispanic Americans between the spring of 2021 and the spring of 2023. So that is quite a dip, man. That is quite a dip, yo. I mean, we're just sick of getting the same thing, man. You're not You're not convincing black people to vote for Joe Biden by attacking us whenever we criticize him. Or asking stupid, dumb questions like, "Oh, well, are you gonna vote for freaking Republicans?" It's at the point where I won't even talk to you if that's gonna be your response. I won't even talk to you. I won't bother. Nope. You wanna know why? Because that is not engaging in good faith. So why would I even bother engaging? I'm not going to. You're not going to tell me who I got to vote for. You're not going to tell me who I got to like, because that's going to make me just reject you even harder. And the harder that you push, the harder that I'm going to push back. No. The one thing that black folks are sick of you doing is you telling us what to do. I don't care if you are Democrat, Republican, black, white. I don't care who. Stop telling me what to do. I can make my own choices and my own decisions. I can do that. I can do that all by myself. I don't need your help. I don't need your help. So, guys, I want to tell you, man, Democrats are real concerned about Cornell West, man, and they should be. He's smart. He intelligent. And to be honest with you, he might get my vote. I mean, if I got to pick between him and Joe Biden, that's not even hard. If I got to pick between Cornell West and Joe Biden, Cornell West all day. Cornell West all day. Absolutely. Absolutely. Without question. So let's get into this next story, man. The city of New Orleans, they have to defend their consent decree. The city of New Orleans, they have a consent decree, whereas their city is they have an agreement between the city and its police department with the federal government overlooking it, overwatching it, and apparently the city of New Orleans has not been in compliance with their consent decrees. Let's get deeper into that story.
New on WDSU, we've learned the city of New Orleans must appear in federal court next month to prove the NOPD's consent decree has not been violated. In a recent filing, the Federal Monitor claims there were 8 violations committed during the investigation into Officer Jeffrey Vappy. Those include failing to give the Monitor access to the Public Integrity Bureau's findings before closing its investigation. You may remember Officer Vappy, who serves on the Mayor LaToya Cantrell's protective detail, was accused of payroll fraud, working more hours than allowed by the NOPD, and acting unprofessionally with the mayor. The United States government is now ordering the city to provide evidence that it did not violate the consent decree. They'll have the opportunity to do that on August 16th at 2 p.m.
So I want you to understand what's happening here. Basically, a police department is under a federal consent decree, and they refuse to comply with the terms and conditions of the federal consent decree, which is wild to me. Because essentially, if you understand anything about a federal consent decree, right? If you understand anything about that, basically, it is it's an agreement. This eBay is just trying to get me to. I don't want eBay, dude. Like, you know, advertisers when they do stuff like that, that doesn't make me want to like buy the product. And maybe it's like not want to do business with you whatsoever. So I wish advertisers would like stop doing that. That's really annoying. But the city of New Orleans, they've been placed under a federal consent decree. Now, once again, what that means is basically the federal government steps in. They see a pattern that whereas, first of all, those really only come when enough people complain to the federal government. Now, the federal government, DOJ, they'll come in and they'll do what is called a pattern or practice like survey or investigation, whereas they will look for not only officers breaking the law or sheriff's deputies breaking the law or law enforcement that actually breaks the law or violates the Constitution or violates the rights of the the rights of the citizen, but they'll also check for a pattern of that. So it can't just be like one or two incidents. It's got to be a whole bunch of incidents over a period of years, right? A clear, observable pattern, right? So with that being said, the city of New Orleans was placed under that consent decree, and they have not been in compliance. Do you understand what that means? That means that you not only did not obey the law, you did not obey the law when a federal judge told you to. So you have New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vatby, right? This guy was accused of payroll fraud, working more hours than allowed, and also acting unprofessionally with the mayor. And there were several violations, and the federal monitor, once again, is a federal consent decree. So you have to comply with the federal monitor, the person who's monitoring, the activities of the police. Claims the department did not give her access to the findings on the case involving this police officer before they closed the investigation. So they didn't want her to see all the dirt on this officer. So they are not in compliance, allegedly, from what I can see, based on what what I'm hearing here from this federal monitor. She can't lie. She can't lie. These are feds now. She can't lie. If she does, there are severe consequences. According to what she's saying, they're not in compliance. They are violent. That means that the New Orleans police are in active federal violation of the law. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, man. Think about that. I want to look this. All right, man. All right. So we got to talk about this. This is amazing. According to Insider, Connecticut police issued 26,000 fake traffic tickets that made them appear busier and skewed racial profiling data. Audit says Connecticut police logged massive discrepancies. Massive. Oh my God. Okay, you got to give me a moment. My Lord. My Lord. Give me a moment. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Look at the headline. Wow. So, according to Insider, Connecticut police issued 26,000 fake traffic tickets that made them appear busier and skewed racial profiling data, according to an audit. So apparently, the Connecticut State Police, they logged massive discrepancies in its traffic stop records, according to an audit. It recorded at least 26,000 fake tickets over a 5-year period. The figure skewed racial profiling data to appear like more white people were being stopped. And that was not the case because, as you might suspect, there were more non-white people, particularly black ones, who were being stopped. So basically, These people were racist, and they said, hold on. We not racist, right? Look at the data that we skewed. Oh, my God. Bruh, that's how you know the average cop is a racist, because they are so racist that they have to skew their data just to appear to not be racist. An audit of Connecticut State Police records found that there was a high likelihood that hundreds of troopers had falsified almost 26,000 traffic tickets over a 5-year period. One trooper single-handedly logged 1,350 fake tickets between 2014 and 2017, the audit released last month revealed. As a result, police skewed racial profiling records, making it appear that more white people had been stopped than was the reality, it said. The audit stressed that it did not examine potential motivations for this. Connecticut's Alvin W. Penn Act requires officers to note the perceived racial identity of all subjects of a traffic stop as part of efforts to reduce racial profiling. In total, the audit found that 387 troopers, constables, and others lodged a statistically significant number of traffic stops that couldn't be substantiated in at least 1 year of the audit. The total number of false records could ultimately be as high as 58,553. The researchers said it was unclear if the fake tickets were deliberately falsified or were the result of human error, it said. What the? So pigs who are known to be racist have to lie now to make themselves appear not racist. Wow. This is a new low for you, Blue Lives Matter, but it's not shocking. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, cops are what they are. Racist pigs. Ain't nothing changed. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was, man. You know, that doesn't shock me. But here goes a similar story, man. This comes out of Connecticut, right? Officer suspended and here's another story from Connecticut in relation to that Connecticut State Police story. Officer suspended for submitting 1,000 false tickets, listed drivers as Native American when they were not. Wow. Trooper Chris Melanson had his police powers suspended and has been taken off the job indefinitely after an internal affairs probe. Eyewitness News has confirmed a longtime Connecticut State Trooper has been suspended this week for submitting 1,000 tickets where he listed many drivers as Native American, even though most of the drivers were actually from other races and ethnicities. Melanson was part of the Traffic Services Unit. His suspension comes weeks after an audit found a high likelihood that hundreds of Connecticut State Police troopers had falsified tens of thousands of traffic tickets. Maybe they didn't get the information to input it correctly. Maybe a lot of mistakes were made. And I also have the feeling some of the people that there are doing this purposefully, and they are going to be held accountable. Somebody was yesterday, said Governor Ned Lamont of Connecticut. Wow. Next Wednesday, state lawmakers in Connecticut are having a hearing to find out what's been happening. Some of the troopers could be some of the troopers could be criminally charged, which would possibly jeopardize their pensions and prevent them from keeping their careers in law enforcement. Man, oh man, this is a crazy scandal. This is a crazy scandal. So the potential fallout from this is that you could be talking up to 58, almost 59,000 fake tickets issued, because The audit just caught 26,000 tickets. And once again, Connecticut State Police officers, they issued these tickets to people, fake tickets, and put white people on them to make it look like they weren't pulling over, you know, mostly black people or Hispanic people, even though they were. So they generated 26 fake tickets to skew the data. And once again, I want you to, this is why it is very, very important that you read these articles, right? I'm going to highlight this one little piece here, right? The total number of false records could ultimately be as high as 58,553, the researchers said. It was unclear if the fake tickets were deliberately falsified or were the result of human error, it said. You know they were deliberately falsified. Come on. Come on. Right? Right? And the audit, which was conducted by the University of Connecticut data analysts followed an independent report that 4 officers were cooking the books to look busy and curry favor with their superiors. Oh boy. Oh dear. Oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. Well, guys, that's gonna be a that's gonna be a wrap midnight, man. That was a fantastic show. That was an interesting show. Guys, let me know what I can do as improvements. Make sure you guys leave me some comments on my other videos, and make sure you follow me on social media. I can be found on Threads now. I can be found on Twitter. I can be found everywhere, man. Until next time, guys, horns up, peace out, good night, and good luck.